The very concern they have, the very image they have in mind, the very role they're playing, makes them stutterers. And stuttering begins, do you hear that? That's a hesitation or a prolongation. Right, prolongation. Stutterers don't want to do that. And secret stutterers have the same fear and concern that they're going to reveal themselves. Do you have that fear and concern? My position is that many of us, so-called normal speakers, are secret stutterers. I talk with people. They're concerned about stuttering. Why are they concerned about stuttering? Because they believe in their heart and their mind, all too often, they're secret stutterers, and it's going to out at some point or other, especially in public speaking, when they're on the stage somewhere, when they're in a performance. They fear they're going to stutter. Stuttering is something you do to yourself. The medical community has said that they can put botulinum toxin into the vocal folds, poison, paralyze the vocal cord. Rather draconic, and they see stuttering as possibly due to a neurological factor. I don't. I see stuttering as due to a wrong image, a wrong concept of what normal speech is. And my experience is borne out by successes with stutterers over the years, not only as the director of the Adult Stutterers Group at Stanford University, but as the director of the UCLA Voice and Speech Clinic when I served there on staff and faculty. And that was borne out repeatedly, time and again. I learned to understand stuttering from Dean Williams, who was a protege of a very famous gentleman at Iowa University. And he was of the view that stuttering was in the ears of the listener. It is and it isn't. It's also in the minds of those who are speaking and taught to speak as though speech is perfect. Speech is never perfect. Never. Wendell Johnson was the gentleman's name, and he opened avenues to me and to others to understand that speech or stuttering is what we make of it. He himself was a severe stutterer to his dying day. And it's ironical that many of the people in the field of therapy, those who teach stuttering, rehabilitation, are stutterers themselves. My concern is that they should look to themselves to change and help themselves and give us the realization that if their theories and their views are valid, they can help themselves. It is the same with the medical community in treating a condition called a strangled voice spasmodic dysphonia. They're putting botulinum toxin in under the idea and the concept that it paralyzes the vocal cord temporarily and stops some of the severe symptoms of a strangled voice. Strangled voice and stuttering are related, it is said. One, the strangled voice is called laryngeal stuttering. They can't get the voice out. And stuttering is up here around the mouth. But you're, in a sense, you are, and those who are stuttering and those who strangle their voices in their throats are doing something that's unnatural, I find, and creating the very problem that they're seeking outside help for. My suggestion, as was said in Willie Shakespeare, the fault lies not in our stars, but in ourselves. But in ourselves. And you hear me repeat and hesitate, or prolongate, or bobble. And if you're having a problem with your speech, think of the reason why you try to be perfect. If your stuttering gets worse, despite the fact that you're having assistance or therapy, think of an alternative approach, one that says it's your image, your role that you're trying to play out, your script that's not really working for you. Stuttering, I find, is what you do to yourself and to your speech, and making speech perfect creates all the havoc and all the problems in the world. If you're strangling your lower throat down here and talking from there, it's not coming from outer space. It's coming from talking wrong in the lower throat. And I report cures and recoveries of the strangled voice and strangled throat for the past 25 years. With stuttering, there are cures and recoveries as well. On this program, I've had a young man who had a severe stutter problem, and he came from one of the major universities. I worked with him for 6 months, and I didn't see him for 10 years, and after 10 years he appeared here. We put him under Klieg lights, and he was a perfectly normal speaker, which means when I say perfectly normal, he bobbled, and he wasn't concerned about it, the bobbling. He wasn't, did you hear the bobble? He wasn't concerned about it, and people did not believe he stuttered. He never had a problem with stuttering after 6 months of therapy. What does that say? Stuttering is, in a sense, an image problem, and so are strangled voices and hoarse voices and misused voices. We try to fit our voices into the wrong area, into the lower throat, when we have misused voices. Basically, all pathology comes from the lower throat and voice. And with stuttering, pathology comes from trying to preform our tongue, to put it in a place in the mouth before we say the sound. As stutterers, do they preform their tongue? And they will tell you, of course. They put it up against the teeth to say the sound 30 seconds or 15 seconds before they say the sound. Can people walk that way, thinking of the muscles in their arm or leg before they walk? No, it's impossible. But stutterers try to do that. People with misused voices try to force the voice from the lower throat. That's impossible. You change your voice for the better. You change your speech for the better. It's natural. It's something you can do. But you have to change your image of what speech is about. We don't think about that. We want a shot. We want medicalization. We want a surgical procedure. I'm suggesting, rather than drugs and medical intervention, that we look to natural intervention. Change our concepts of our speech, of our voice, and see if it doesn't help us step by step remove the problems that we're confronted with. And you hear that, that's a bobble, confronted with. We know to work our bodies. We go to a gym. We know to watch our diet. We know how to remain healthy in great part today. It's not coming from outer space. What we're doing is realigning our thinking, reasserting our control of our lives, of our bodies. And I'm suggesting we take control and reassert our control of our speech and our voice. Are you a secret stutterer? Do you wonder when you talk, will your voice come out? Will it be natural, normal, and you fear it won't? Realign your concept, your image of what you're doing. If your voice doesn't come out, and you're trying to talk, and you're looking for medicalization, think again. Demystify the problems of speech, demystify and demedicalize the problems of voice. That's my message. And if you try to do that, you may have an alternative answer to why you can't talk, why you stutter, and why you believe you're a secret stutterer. You've got a concept in mind that's not working. It's impossible. Perfect speech is impossible. Perfect voice is not. You can have a perfect voice, you can have a clear voice forever if you put your voice up in the mass around your lips and nose where all good and great voices come from. And if you use your speech properly, your speech will be intelligible and audible for the rest of your life. Voices are what we do to ourselves, and speech is what we do to ourselves too. So if you're a secret stutterer and you fear that your speech won't come out right and you're psychologically and emotionally uptight, rethink the image, the role, and do the same for your voice. I'm Mort Cooper. The title of the program is Change Your Voice, Change Your Life. On the screen, let's take a look at books you may find in the bookstore or in the library. Here are the books. Stop Committing Voice Suicide. It talks about strangled voices and hoarse voices, and it tells you what to do for yourself, and their cures and recoveries. And there's Winning with Your Voice and Change Your Voice, Change Your Life. We can see it on the screen. And it also tells you how to improve your voice. And Change Your Voice, Change Your Life talks about the bobbling of America, stuttering, so that you have a better concept and insight into the problems of speech. If we can take a look at Change Your Voice, Change Your Life, you get the concept of that book, and it's in the bookstores and it's in the library. Thank you for joining with me. I'm Mort Cooper, your host on Change Your Voice, Change Your Life, and Change Your Speech, Change Your Life. Thank you very much.